formalities, unless there's any objections, you want us to approve it? Okay, seeing none, first thing on this, any comments from the audience? Okay. We have minutes to be approved, May 12th Supervisors Agenda Meeting and the May 19th Supervisors Regular Meeting. Any additions or corrections to those minutes?
No, sir.
Seeing none, they'll stand approved as presented. Minutes to be acknowledged. We have the Recreation Board meeting of June the 7th. And the sanitary did not meet, and the Planning Commission minutes are not submitted. Items to be acted on. Davis Lot consolidation, subdivision.
Yeah, just one lot subdivision, consolidating two lots together.
We saw that at our agenda meeting.
Correct. It's ready to be approved.
Okay. Motion to approve.
Second.
Moved, seconded, discussion, all in favor? Aye. It's approved. Wing subdivision.
Yeah, out on along Park Road, Mr. Wing's just subdividing off 10 acres with a home, and then keeping the remaining 60 acres onto his parcel. So it's just basically a one lot subdivision. Once again, reviewed by the Planning Commission, they recommended approval. Contingencies are all taken care of. So
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Seconded, discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's approved. Our monthly reports, which we get in advance, if there's any questions on any of these, ask and we'll go into them. If not, we'll just move on to the next one. The financial, the police, road department, wage tax, real estate tax, zoning, code enforcement, and fire report. Seeing no comments in the reports, items in the manager's report. First, we need to reappoint Donna Lair to the Property Maintenance Code Board for Phils. Motion to approve. Second, discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Dawn's reappointed. Amendment to Resolution 2021, the Chippewa fee schedule.
yeah, I'm making a recommendation to change our fee schedule for our door-to-door solicitation for profit. Application fee currently is $25 a year, which is very low. Check with a bunch of other communities in the area. I would like to revise that or amend that resolution for the fee to be $50 per day per individual, or $300 per year per individual throughout the township, and that would be in a calendar year.
Right.
So that would be my recommendation to amend our fee schedule.
Motion to amend. Second, discussion, all in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Okay, we're down to American Rescue Act.
Now we're down to the next one, amendment
I'm
to the
sorry.
Chippewa Code.
I'm sorry, my eyes aren't doing a good job today. Yeah, amendment to Chippewa Code of Ordinance, Part 1, 101.
Yeah, for the transient retail business. Kind of went back and forth with this, looked at something that we could, as we're tearing into this solicitation, door-to-door solicitation, I went back and looked at our ordinance. Our ordinance is dated 1984. There's a lot of language in here that we probably ought to look at, see if it still, is applicable to what we're doing now. And another thing is, I know in 2018 we had that application for Aptive Environmental. And at the time, we came to an agreement with them, and we had a list of conditions that Solicitor Verlahay looked through a bunch of other ordinances. And we had to deal with that at the time because they had an open application to us. So we were in agreement with that company to follow those conditions. And some of the conditions were the hours that they were able to solicit in the township. Other things were, if there are no solicitation signs, that they were not permitted to go onto the property. If someone asked them to leave, they had to leave with it, promptly just set up a bunch of guidelines and conditions that they agreed to. It's common in their solicitation field. At that time, we reacted to that, and we never really incorporated any of that language into our ordinance.
Yeah.
I checked with the police department, and they've been having that attached to every application that goes out as conditions. But I don't feel that those just being conditions, a part of the application. I think it needs to be in our ordinance. Because at that point, if someone would ever say, well, where does your ordinance say that at? It's almost like it's a conflict.
Okay.
So we need to get that incorporated into our ordinance. And if there's any other language that you have any other suggestions, it's been running pretty smooth with those conditions right now. We haven't had a lot. And what I like, a lot of complaints, but we do get some complaints from individuals saying, you know, why are they coming to my door? Why are they allowed to do this? And I'd like to educate everybody in the community and through our magazine, our website, Facebook, other social media to say, here are the rules and regulations they have to follow. If you don't want somebody to come to your knock on your door, get a no solicitation sign. They will not come to your door. So I'd like to do that, but I think we need to get that language incorporated into our ordinance first. So I guess what I'll be asking for this evening is for the board to go ahead and permit me, Chief of Police Hermick, and Solicitor and the Supervisors to go ahead and amend our Code of Ordinance Part 1 in transient retail business. To incorporate that language we have in conditions, and if there's any other stuff that we need to look at.
Okay.
So.
Motion to do everything that Manager Taylor just said?
Yes.
Here's a second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right.
On that, it was driving me crazy because I thought we had that in the ordinance somewhere.
Yeah.
And I looked for that ordinance, couldn't find it. Reached out to George, and between the two of us, I said, you know what, I found it in an email, the conditions. And then we kind of put it together, and this is what happened. We reacted because we had to at the time and never really went back and put it in our ordinance. So
Well, that's good.
driving me crazy. For 2 days, three days I scrambled to try to find this ordinance that didn't exist.
Mark told me the date, and that's when my computer crashed, and I lost 2 years worth of stuff, and that's why I couldn't find the file.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I think after 37 years, it's time to give an update.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. American Rescue Act?
Rich, I'll go ahead and let you address that.
Okay, last week we received a letter from the state for the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. We have to go onto the website and fill out some information. A lot of it we already have. We'll just fill it back out, but unfortunately we have to apply for a system for award management and SAM registration, and Mark had applied for that today. The state won't release any of our COVID monies until that is all filled out and approved. So that's the status of where we're at. Should take 2 to 3 business days to approve that registration.
All right. Okay, resolution 2021-6, setting up funds for the American Rescue Act.
Yeah, part of that, what Rich just spoke about, is to have an account set up for those funds to be transferred to.
Okay.
So, with it, as you know, anytime we open up an account, we need a resolution approved.
Resolution, motion, seconded, discussion, all in favor? Aye. Motion carried. All right, proclamation of appreciation from the Patterson Township Board of Supervisors.
Yeah, I had 2 board members come to me yesterday, I guess. Yeah, I think. Don Inman and Ren Bartow, and they handed me these proclamations that they wanted to, that they did at their meeting, and they wanted to. They're really nice. They framed them and everything, and I think you saw it probably in the paper or something. It was from an incident that happened, an accident in their township, and they wanted to recognize Officer Tom Pernick and Daniel Frederick. And I know that Officer Pernick, he's a supervisor at the ER nurse, and he was very, very helpful of getting the IV started that the paramedics struggled to get. You get the blood transfusion transfusions going. So they just wanted to recognize everybody for that. I know I sent you the proclamation.
Right.
And so they sent us four, one for Tom Pernick, Officer Daniel Frederick, one for our police department, and one for our fire department.
Great.
So I will make sure that all of those officers get them, the officers in the departments get them.
Awesome.
So I just wanted to, I know we kind of commended them also and thanked them for their service that they did on that date when we received that email a while back, but I thought it was nice of Patterson to go ahead and do that also.
That stuff's great.
And recognize those individuals in the departments.
All right.
So that's all I have.
Anything else?
That's all I have.
Okay, seeing none, we're into payment of bills. The bills for the month of May is $128,223.80. Motion to pay bills. Moved, second, discussion, all in favor? Aye. We'll pay the bills. Any other solicitor's business this evening? Nope. Any supervisors' business?
Real quick, you guys can tell me if I'm crazy or not. I was looking at this. We don't have anything, at least not that I'm aware of, for people that are renting out their homes to people that do not live in their homes. We have something, I'm pretty sure, with the amount of people that can be in a home. Yeah. What I'm getting at is Airbnb things. There are, we don't have any here that I'm aware of, but there are, horror stories popping up in random places of people that have Airbnbs that are renting them out. They don't have any parking. They don't have a limit on how many people can be there. So you can be, on Park Road and have 60 people in a 3-bedroom house there having a huge party, and there's nothing that we really can do to have them. Now again, if they're making noise, if they're stuff like that we can do, but there's nothing that we really can do to stop them from having 60 people in a house for a weekend or something like that.
I mean, we would have to do it through zoning, Dan. Yeah. I mean, being a single family residence, and then you would turn into, to answer your question, nothing in black and white. Yeah. We would have to find something throughout our ordinance to say, hey, this addresses this.
There's some communities are passing ordinances and through zoning and stuff to kind of make sure that this doesn't pop up. I mean, if you guys want to look into it, I can print out a couple or email a couple to you. Like I said, it's not a problem now, but it's one of those things. I don't know if anybody thinks there's any value in looking into something like that to protecting ourselves.
I mean, the only issue that I'll tell you that we've had in the past was mainly when we would have the flight school here. The air traffic control school was very, very popular. Yeah. And we would get, we had a couple locations where we had a lot of kids trying to pack into one place. Probably at least 4 that I know of off the top of my head. And we would have to get in and address that. And we got into they had too many bedrooms in the basement that didn't. Yeah, and we got into the property maintenance code, building code type thing to address that. That's a time consuming. That's not a weekend thing.
No, yeah.
A weekend thing's going to be hard. By the time we would be notified and get things addressed, it's over. Yeah. So that's the only issue we've ever had here that I can state that.
I'll send it out to everybody.
If you were looking at it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There may be no value at all to it, but I'll send it to you to look at. And if you guys, Nancy, Jim, Mark, you think it's worth looking at something to do, because I just was reading a couple articles of horror stories of towns that have bad Airbnb places and they really couldn't do anything about it.
All right, sounds good. Any other supervisors business? Seeing none, our next regular meeting in July is a break. Not that means anything, though.
It is.
Sometimes we make adjustments.
Parade, did you say?
Yeah.
The Fireman's Carnival Parade.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have to make an adjustment for that at a regular night meeting.
Just throwing it out early.
We'll see what's on our plate. Maybe we can even get to the point where we can utilize our agenda meeting and handle it there if we can't. If there's something that would be a conflict with, then we can just change the night. Okay. And I can advertise that.
Anything else to come before the board this evening? Seeing none?